Hey, hi Sherry. Hi Jean. Good to see you ladies. Um, I am so excited. I know you guys are too, that we have Issa here with us tonight. And just real quickly before we get going with Issa, I just want to go over a few really quick things as a reminder. I want to remind you all of just that auto subscription dialer that started this month. I want to remind you all of just that auto subscription dialer that started this month. I want to remind you all of just that auto subscription dialer that started this month. I want to remind you all of just that auto subscription dialer that started this month. I want to remind you all of just that auto subscription dialer that started this month. I want to remind you all of just that auto subscription dialer. What's happening? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, that was weird.
That was so weird. Let me see. Wow. And it kept saying the same thing.
That was weird.
That was so weird. Okay, well, we're going to proceed. I'm not going to share my screen and I'm just going to tell you. That was so weird. Okay, I just want to remind you about the auto dialer for people after their subscription goes out on that third business day if it doesn't. But I just want this to be a reminder for you to go that extra mile for your customer service and check that subscription report in your reports in the back office. And then also a reminder that starting September 1st, they're going to clean up your back office. So, I just again want to make sure that no one gets taken away that you could possibly have like a reunion with. Bob has been teaching us a lot about that lately in our coaching, having those reunion like reach outs with people like from the past that maybe you can start conversations with again, or just truly re-invite them to take another look at LifeVantage and just see if they're open. So just really making sure like that you have that database going for you for people that you've talked to before. And then tomorrow night, this will go out in the morning. I'll post this, but Courtney Watkins and then Lucia Mills from Australia. She's phenomenal. She's on Brandon Cunningham's team. They will be doing a presentation tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Mountain, 8 Central. That will be on Zoom. I'll post those details in the morning. And then Dr. Greer is here locally live. I know some of us will be going to that. And then a reminder of next, there's a Life Vantage Academy in Sioux Falls this weekend with Blue Elam. But if you cannot make it to a live LifeVantage Academy, next Saturday will be a virtual one with Jenny Crane. And the topic is the modern consultant. So I'll be posting details about that too. And then the last thing I just wanted to say to you real quick is I really highly recommend that with everything that Sean is doing on the, not within just the yellow pad, but on the free range life site, like you when you go to that site, onepersonbigdifference.com, you'll see the yellow pad, you'll see the freerangelife.com, you'll see the presentation, which there'll be one there shortly. Under that is the first one says launch guide. I just want you to go through that. I want you to go through the launch guide yourself because that is what you will take a new person through. And I think it's very important that you're acquainted with the steps that are involved with that. And as you go through it, like I was going through it today, I already can find some spots where when you go to a site, there's no way to go back where you were. And giving that feedback to Sean, he will really appreciate that. So we don't want to throw anyone into something that we've not been through. So walk yourself through that, check the boxes, and do all the things. Okay, so with that, I asked Isa just this morning, she was so gracious to say yes to be a guest tonight, because some really beautiful things are happening in her business in a really beautiful way. And I think she's just been, I mean, she's ready for such a season like this, but this didn't come easy for her. and she's gone through some really hard seasons to get here. And I know that we all can resonate with that. And I just thought hers is a story. And I mean, we're going to get to hear her on stage at Global. So, first of all, congratulations, Isa. Like,
Thank you.
it's such a beautiful honor to be able to do that. And I just know that you're going to bless so many people. I can't wait to see what you wear. I just can't wait to see you up there. It's going to be
Thank
so,
you.
so amazing. So, congratulations. But
Thank you.
could you just kind of like walk us through, like, I know that you've mentioned here and there in Zooms, like some of the hard seasons that have happened first. And then, I don't know, just kind of see where it takes you and keep going with it.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks everybody for the hearts and the support. I did take a few notes. I hope you don't mind if you see me looking down. I just this has been it's been emotional for me because one thing that I said to Marisa last week was that exactly what I'm going to share with you tonight. I was reminded that like life is still happening. So it's the shift that we decide to have within ourselves. All the same things are still going on in some level in the background in my life, but I've just decided to show up for all of it fully and not shrink. So I just wanted to share with you tonight about like my turning point. And I just want to say, I've been a part of LifeVantage for 10 years. August 25th will be 10 years. And if I'm honest, this turning point was not one big strategy. It wasn't a magical event or a big aha moment, but it was an internal shift. It was something, within me. And like I said, I had to stop waiting to feel ready, stop waiting for the perfect timing, and start looking outside of myself for validation. So if you can relate to that, that you're looking outside of who you are for validation of who you have the right to talk to or approach or how big your business should be, um, I hope that this speaks to you. So the last couple of years have stretched me deeply in not only my business, but my personal life, my family life, going through grief. I lost both of my parents in the last couple of years, which I never imagined just how that changes how we show up in the world. But and it's changed in faith in a positive way for me. And I started to ask myself some questions, especially I would say in the last like 6, 7, 8 months. I was unhappy, you guys. I was struggling. And I just started really going inside and saying, am I going to stay comfortable? What if I do nothing? And what if I choose to not change? I'm not wanting to show up on calls. I became a lot smaller. I was still in LifeVantage and still sharing every day organically, but I definitely wasn't showing up the way that I am now. So I decided to not play small anymore, and I decided to really, look at where God is in my business. I'm a person of faith, and so I'm just going to share that openly here for you. But look at everyone that is placed in my life and in my business, and really calling that in for me. And so with that choice, I could either stay where I was or I could choose to grow, and I chose growth. So clearly. And so the biggest transformation with that started with belief and not in belief. I think sometimes we think of arrogance or we think of ego, like I have big belief, but really real belief for me is just believing that we're capable. It's simple. We're capable. We are called and we have something valuable to offer. How simple is that, right? Thank you, Jean. Simple, that's real belief. You're capable, you're called, and you have something to offer. And I had to personally stop disqualifying myself because of my age, my circumstances, my setbacks, and the hard seasons that I have been experiencing. And I had to remember that everything I've walked through has shaped me into who I am today. I am so grateful right now for many of the things that I have walked through because I just know that there's more, and I feel that I have that hope to offer other people as well. So I stopped treating this like something that I hoped would work, and I started treating it like something that I know works and that what we have is extraordinary. Do you all believe that? I mean, I know I've seen each of you on here for a while. We've all been with LifeVantage for a while, and there's been a lot of noise in the industry. And if we didn't fully believe and we're bulletproof and that what we have is extraordinary, I don't know that we would all still be here. So I really leaned into that. And, we're not chasing trends here with LifeVantage. We have the real science, the real products, and real opportunity. And I say this with 1,000% of everything in my heart is that I do believe that the best days are yet to come with LifeVantage. I really do. Today was really exciting for me to hear our leaders, our presidential leaders, get to share what they learned with the new CEO. And the more I learn about this gentleman, it's like he wouldn't have come here. I mean, he was successful. He would, he wouldn't have. He wouldn't have made that change, I don't think, had he not seen that there's something really magical that's going to happen here. So, one thing that I've really leaned into lately is curiosity. And this is probably the most important for me. I started to become very curious about things. And I say that with almost, for me, it was the opposite of overthinking and trying to control every situation. Can anyone relate to that? I, I was just, yeah, I was trying to control every outcome, needing all of the answers. And I started asking, for me again, personally, what is God doing here? Who is he putting in front of me? And what opportunity is he asking me to lean into? So really, I was letting go of the control and just becoming curious and quiet with that about like what is going on here. And I had a real moment with this recently. You may have heard about this. I was driving and felt a very clear nudge. I was driving my little dog to the groomer on a Friday, and I drove by a building that I had looked at. I am a holistic esthetician, by the way. And I had been looking at this building and it went for lease. I called on it. It was too expensive, too big. And then the lease sign was gone. I saw that someone was moving in. And that day that I drove by, I saw that there were cars in the parking lot. I did a U-turn, you guys. I just was like, I just felt divinely called to go and see what was going on. I was just being curious. And that is when I met Devi. That's who I met, who has become a leader in my business. I don't know if you've heard of Devi Anderson. She brought in Dr. Doug and Nancy Rothrock. And it all just was very organic. And I just want to encourage you that I believe that when we lean into these nudges that we're getting, these nudges or these little whispers, if you will, you never know. You just don't know what is on the other side of that. So I could have ignored it. I could have talked myself out of it. And I could have definitely said, I'll do it another time because I drive by that building every day. But I learned something with that. And that is momentum often lives on the other side of obedience. So, I turned the car around and I went, and that may sound simple, but it represents to me something so much bigger. It represents trust, trusting in myself. It represented action, and it represented just leaning into what might be somebody that God wanted me to be rather than trying to cling to what I think I should be doing every day. So sometimes I think we make this business far too complicated. And what if growth looks like just being curious and being willing to move when we feel that nudge, and that not every conversation becomes a yes, right? Not every conversation becomes a yes, but every act of courage builds us. So think of that when you're looking at your two a day every day, you're just making courageous calls each day, right? We're not looking for the yes. We're just, I'm having fun with this now, you guys, because this curiosity thing has really made me more um, connected to wanting to know about people. Like I've always been very, question oriented with people, but I feel even more of that now. And people want to share who they are. They want to share their story. So what's working now is that my posture has changed and I'm showing up differently. And people can hear our energy before we even speak, right? And that I like to call it our signal. It's just kind of out there, right? So when your signal's a little higher, whether it means because your business is going well, or you just had a great weekend with your family, or you just went for a run and you feel good, when your signal is higher, take some action because people feel that, right? So I'm no longer inviting from hesitation, but I'm inviting from confidence. I just invited two people to take a look at LifeVantage before I got on this call. And I've just gotten a lot more bold, you guys. I mean, I went to a new compound pharmacy last Friday. and started talking to I said, "Are you the owner?" And he said, "Yes." And we just struck up a conversation. And I said, "You've got some great books over there. Last time I was here, I didn't see that you had a little library, a little, storefront that he's building." I also noticed that he had Young Living diffusers over there. I'm curious. I'm looking. I'm picking up clues. And so I said to him, "I would love to." And I noticed that they do seminars. I saw this on the counter. And I said, if you're open to educational opportunities within your business, I have been with a company that's all about cellular activation for 10 years, and would you like to know more? And he was like, sure. He said, would you send it to me on email? So I just did that. I don't know what's going to happen with it. Um, I don't feel so attached to the outcome though anymore, you guys, because it's helping me build that muscle. So having bigger conversations, right? I have to drink some Axio, you guys. I stopped prejudging people, and I stopped telling myself who would or would not be interested. Have you guys ever done that? I have to tell you that these women that came into Life Vantage, Devi and Nancy, the Rothrocks, they own airplanes, they're pilots, they travel, they do all these things that I just would figure, if I were judging, I would be like, they wouldn't want to do network marketing, right? But they love it because they want community. They want friendships, they want community, and they want to retire. So, um, we're talking, as you're elevating that signal, think about talking, not only to entrepreneurs, but medical professionals, people like me that are doing facials or, massages. And if we're not doing it, we're not making money. If we're not, having a person on the table, and then talk to people with vision and influence. And Carrie Dickey said recently to me, you want to find the best storytellers. Who tells the best stories, right? When you're at a party, who tells the funniest story, or even a girlfriend that, you meet for coffee and when she starts to tell you about something that happened, it's the best story. We want storytellers, you guys, because that's what we're doing. We're sharing our story, the company story, the product story, and the business story, right? So, and consistency over emotion. And this one is huge. Well, I don't want to say I stopped. I am working on not letting my feelings dictate my actions. I had a hard day today. I don't know why. I think I'm just missing my parents, and we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of my dad passing. So I know that there's stuff going through me, but it took me a little longer today, but I took that action. I told myself I was going to reach out to those two people before the day was over. So, really work on that, not letting your feelings dictate what you're going to do. And just remember that momentum isn't built through random bursts of inspiration. It's built through consistency. Some days we feel on fire, some days we don't, and that's okay. So show up anyway. I protect my environment. I really work intentionally at what I listen to, what I consume, and I'm speaking about social media, I'm speaking about books, and who I spend time with. Leadership matters, community matters, prayer matters, all of these things, personal growth matters, but what we're allowing into our lives and into our energy field really, really matters. So, when we start moving, our belief grows and confidence grows and results grow. And I just want to say, for me, we don't have to have everything figured out. That's what I was trying to do, is have everything figured out of how it was all going to play out. I still don't know where my Life Advantage business is going to take me. I don't know. I have vision, but I'm having fun with it and I'm just taking it, one step at a time. So I'm just trusting, leaning into the next step and just you know recognizing that it all starts with how we think and that life is going to keep happening. Pay attention to that, you guys. When we start paying attention to how we think, notice that the things that were bothering you are probably still going on in the background, but you just start to you know um, rise above it. Your signal is higher, so you're not letting it pull you in so much. I like to call it background music that I've just turned down and I just don't hear it anymore. So, faith and momentum to me often look very similar and both require movement before you see the full picture, right? faith and momentum require movement before we see the full picture. But we're believing in, something here, you guys, that aren't sure. We can't see it right away. So our next breakthrough may just be one conversation away and one invitation away. And so I'd like to just leave you tonight with stay curious. I was thinking tonight, Tanya, about how last October we were talking about global on the one person call. And I'll be really honest with you guys. I haven't said this to anyone. I didn't make it to that convention. I really believe I was having a little meltdown, you guys. I was a sad person and I couldn't move. I remember I had my ticket. I can't believe I'm sharing this, but it's on my heart. I had my ticket to fly out, you guys, and I called the airline. I said I'm going to go the next day. I'm going to go the next day, and you all were there. You all were in Dallas, and I was like, I'll get there. I'll get there, and I could not move. And I really realize now it was that fight or flight was too high in me, and I think that I had to hit that point to realize that I had a choice. I had a choice because I knew that one choice, it was never a choice to leave Life Manage and to stop, but I had to keep moving and I had to keep taking the next step. And I absolutely had to stay around this community to become better and to heal myself. And so it's been a journey, and I just hope that my story might inspire somebody that, things might not always be, we might not be where we thought we would be at a certain time, but it doesn't really matter in the long run, does it? It doesn't matter to me anymore. I just feel like I'm having impact. I'm having fun. I'm falling in love with my life again and with this business and with people. And um, yeah, I hope that's helpful.
It was all, I
So,
mean, I hope that you take those exact notes and turn them into your speech
yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
just like, it's impossible not to feel you and feel your heart when you speak. So thank you for being so real about it. I know we can all resonate with all of it. I want to know too, Issa, real quick, like what, when you say, when you tell us, speak to people like me, or when you spoke to Nancy or Debbie, when you turned that car around and you went in and got curious, what did you say to her? Or what would you love to be said to you to get you to look at what we have?
Great question, Tanya. And I've thought a lot about that. So when I met Devi, it was, well, first of all, I did the U-turn and I found out that it was their open house that night. And their daughter, Val, who's the office manager, remembered me from years of owning my stores here in Prescott. She said, "Come back tonight, Issa. My mom's going to be here and she will love to see you." And I just said, okay. And that's another thing, everybody. I'm in a season of yes. When Tanya asked me this morning, will you talk on my call tonight? Yes, I'm in the season of yes. And I think that when we're in that, you guys, we are you just say yes. It's part of the growth that I have. So I said yes. I said, yeah, I'll come back tonight. I have nothing going on. Sure. So I went back and Devi talked to me about coming into her business with my aesthetics practice, right? She was talking about, and so I talked to her a bit about Life Vantage that night. We had lunch the following Monday, and I very clearly said to her, and I also had put it in writing in front of me. I said, listen, I am doing skincare, but LifeVantage is my passion. This is my business. I do skincare, but my main thing is LifeVantage here. And she just said, this is so funny, you guys. She said, is this network marketing? Because if it is, I love network marketing and I'm very open to the concept. Would you tell me more about the company? And I went, whoa.
Yeah,
I mean, so I just want to say with that I was very confident and I encourage each of you to do this. Stand in your truth. If you feel that this is your passion and this is your main thing, but in the background you're an accountant or you're an esthetician or you're whatever, tell people that. Say this is my main thing and I also do skincare or I also teach yoga. And I think that she picked up on that and had, she felt my confidence in that.
I love it.
I
Oh,
don't call this a side gig, you guys. I do not call it a side hustle.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always like Jim Rohn, what he said. I'm working full time on my wages and part time on my fortune.
Oh, I like
I
that.
just think
Yeah.
that's such a great saying. Yeah. Yeah, I just appreciate you, Ethan. And I think it's so beautiful what you shared. Just momentum comes from obedience. It's such a great thing. And I know in my journey, I've had many occasions. I mean, I couldn't count them, how many times it's been a bad day or I haven't wanted to show up or feels like nothing is moving. But in hearing too today about Terrence Moorhead talking about how he pace matters and spending the time that he did with Lisa Barnes, like when you talk about curiosity, everything I'm hearing is he's coming in filled with curiosity. Like he doesn't just want to see what we're doing from surface level. Like he's digging in and he wants to know what's happening behind the scenes and wants to make us relevant. So I just believe if that's where he's going, then all the work we're doing underneath matters more than ever. We have to be sharing. So, and
Yes.
today too, just another tip, you guys. Um, he was sharing, so I wrote this down that he said there's 80 million baby boomers and that's 62 to 80 years old. And he said they are searching for help, searching for answers. And then Gen Xers, I don't remember the amount, but she said, but that's 46 to 61. So I went right to chat and I'm like, where do I find these people and how do I get myself in front of them? Because Issa, your team had 71 enrollments last month. That's amazing, especially right now. It's amazing. So
Thank you.
beautiful. And Marisa, she's always out, always enrolling. She's as curious as anyone, right? She's always enrolling. And I just know that that's what I need to do. And I would encourage you guys. So, I looked up 55 up or communities that are 55 and up in Sioux Falls. And I came across this place and I called him and I just said, do you ever have people come in and do like seminars or education for your community about ways to stay healthy? And she said, well, as a matter of fact, we've got a vendor thing coming up. I can call you back about it. I'm like, that would be great. You just don't know. And I wouldn't have known that had I not called. So there's so many ways that we can do that, but we need to search them out because I think
What
it's
a great,
becoming harder
love
and
that.
harder for them to find us because they don't know what's true and what's not. And it takes a long time to build trust online now. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't still show up. But anyway,
I
I'll let
love that. I kept thinking too, y'all, that, and right before I met Devi, I'll be very transparent here too. I had, I had a relationship that I'd had for about a year and a half with someone who's a big wellness influencer. She was taking a look at LifeVantage and she did the whole red carpet thing. And it was exciting. And I thought, oh gosh, now, like this person's going to come on board. And guess what? She ghosted me afterwards. She was so afraid of herself in doing network marketing,
Mm,
which is really funny because she's slinging affiliate links here and there like nobody's business, right? But that was something that really hit me. And I was like, okay, we are our own influencer. We have a circle of influence, you guys, right? The seven habits, right, Tanya? And just really look at people in your community. Look at yourself too, like your circle of influence. I think that social media has made some things really um, skewed, in my
mm.
opinion.
Yeah.
Real influence is open, honesty, asking questions, like connection. So I love that you went to call that community, Tanya.
Yeah. Yeah. So good, Issa. Does anyone have any questions for her before we wrap up for the night? No? Oh, you're beautiful, Issa.
Oh, thank you
So
guys.
deserving
Thank
of
you for
all of this.
having me.
Yeah. We always end our team call in a prayer. I'd love it if you'd join us.
Absolutely.
Okay. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for Issa. And I just thank you, Lord, for the obedience that she has shown and for her heart to show up and be curious, even in the hard moments. It's just proof that you are truly guiding her and that she has some amazing angels just guiding her along and showing her where to go. And I just pray that that abundance continues for her. I know for all of us, Lord, anytime that we choose to lean in and we start to feel our own momentum, there's always going to be that force that wants to pull us back. So I just pray that you help us to know when that's occurring and that we know when to just take your hand and lean in even more and have that posture and have that confidence to continue to keep walking forward, even if it feels like nothing's moving, just knowing and trusting and believing that it's all for a purpose and that we will see the rewards on the other side. So, thank you so much for this gift. Thank you for Isa. And I just pray for good health and, yeah, health for everyone that's going through some hardships right now. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you, Isa.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Love you.
Love
Thanks,
you guys.
everybody. Love you.
Have a good
Congrats
night.
on your success.
What's that?
Congrats on your success.
Oh, thank you,
Happy for you.
Krista. Thank you. Thank you,
Mm.
guys. I'm here if anyone needs third-party validation, estheticians, whatever. We need each other. We need to help each other here. I'm in Messenger and Tanya's got my number.
Okay. Love you guys.
Perfect.
Love you,
Thank you.
Isa. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Good night.